December of 1998. Did you ever get the impression that Mark Jensen had ever come to terms with or forgiven Julie for that one affair that she'd had in early 90 or 91?
No, he was seriously hurt and angered, and from very early on when I first met him, that came across right up until the very end. He never got over it.
Did he indicate to you whether or not he would be in the office on December 4th?
I don't believe so.
At some point after Julie's death, do you remember having a conversation with Mark Jensen about whether or not Kelly Labonte should be at Julie's wake or at her funeral or come into his residence?
Yes, I did.
Tell the jury about that conversation.
Again, we'd have frequent conversations every day, and he brought up the issue of whether or not it would be appropriate for Kelly to be at the wake. And I don't know if it was the same conversation, but shortly thereabouts he asked if what my thoughts were if Julie were to move into his home.
Julie or Kelly?
Pardon me, Kelly.
So this was within a matter of days of Julie's death?
That's correct.
And he was asking you about whether his girlfriend should come to his wife's wake and funeral?
That's correct.
What advice did you give him?
I said it was not a good idea.
And this conversation about whether or not Kelly should move into his residence, he should have Kelly move into this residence, how much time elapsed between Julie's death and this conversation that you have with Mark Jensen about Kelly moving into his residence?
I can't recall exactly, but it was in very short order. It wasn't long.
More than a week or less than a week?
I can't recall, but maybe a week or two at the most, I would think.
And when he was asking you about whether or not you thought it advisable for Kelly to move into his residence, what was your advice at that time?
Rather low-key, but just that it was not a good idea.